Connect to Love, The Keys to Transforming Your Relationship by M. Gary Neuman. Narrated by Danny Campbell and Cassandra Campbell. Copyright 2011 by M. Gary Neuman. This unabridged audiobook is published by arrangement with John Wiley & Sons, Incorporated, and was produced in the year 2011 by Tantor Media, Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. Preface. There I was, sitting with Oprah on her set discussing my book, The Truth About Cheating, Why Men Stray, and What You Can Do to Prevent It. For over 23 years, I've worked to help couples through significant problems in their relationships. My goal has always been to develop healthier attitudes and genuine loving connections between partners. When I wrote The Truth About Cheating, I was excited about exploring the inner thoughts of faithful and unfaithful men in a study of 200 men throughout the United States. I knew it would be empowering for women to know what their men were thinking, yet not sharing on the topic of faithfulness. Some women asked me, "What about us and our cheating and unhappiness?" I felt that having the key to what makes men tick in relationships would only improve women's chances for happiness in their relationships. I announced on the show that I was in the process of doing comprehensive research on the faithfulness of women, or lack thereof. It was a long-avoided topic, and I wanted to explore what women were thinking and feeling in their relationships and how they could get their needs and desires met. This book reveals the results of that research. Over 500 women from around the world have spoken, giving me the opportunity to share their deepest feelings and struggles. Research has significantly changed with the Internet, which offers an unmatched anonymity that translates to more honest answers today than researchers might have been able to get in the past. Especially when dealing with such a subject as marital dissatisfaction and female cheating, anonymity is essential. I created my research questions with the assistance of a college professor and others at the university and posted them online. I considered where I could best hear a collective female voice. I was fortunate to be granted permission to use Oprah.com, which graciously created a link to my study so that women visiting that site could participate in it. In a separate study, I conducted face-to-face interviews with women from a parenting class in South Florida, where I live. Finally, several additional websites linked to my research questions after the link on Oprah.com closed. I then had 3 different sources of information that I could compare to see if I was receiving similar information from each. I found the results to be the same in all 3 groups, which gave me confidence that the research represented the genuine views of a cross-section of women. I wanted to find clear, practical solutions for men and women to make their relationships much better. I needed to find the actions you could take that would work, and just as important, which ones would not work. I wanted to discover the few most influential ways to make an incredible difference in your marriage. To accomplish this, I developed 2 survey questionnaires, one for women involved in extramarital affairs and one for those who were faithful. The only prerequisite for women taking one of the 2 surveys was that they had to be or have been married. The reason for this was to avoid any confusion about the definition of cheating. I also found out how many women felt their infidelity led to divorce. The faithful survey had 52 questions, and the unfaithful survey had 67. If you take these numbers and add the fact that most of the questions had multiple responses, where women were asked to supply percentage values for all options that applied, then multiply by the 505 individual women who took the survey, you will see that you are the beneficiary of more than 100,000 total responses. The participants represent every state in the United States, plus there's a voice from other parts of the world, including Europe, South America, Canada, Australia, and Africa. Different ages, races, and incomes are all represented. This research has been presented at an international psychological conference and is being submitted for publication in psychological journals. The stories are eye-opening. The results are surprising. The answers this collective female voice offers all of us, both women and men, are practical and meaningful. Introduction. This is a book for couples about what women want in their relationships. It is not a book about women and cheating. I hope to help couples prevent infidelity, but my main goal is to share what I've learned from the courageous women, happy and sad, who've revealed their highly personal thoughts and feelings. Through listening to the collective voice of these women, every couple can discover meaningful, practical changes that are sure to make their love relationships far more loving, romantic, and intimate. Women and men will gain a deeper insight into what a woman needs from love, and what both partners can do to make their relationship great. You are about to hear the voices of over 500 women. Through exhaustive research, I have worked to bring you a clearer, deeper understanding about women and love. Both men and women have a great deal to learn about love. By writing this book, I wanted to help everyone understand what women want from their relationships. As you will learn, the vast majority of women are profoundly unhappy in their relationships. Sadly, 39% of the women in my study have reported physically cheating, and the majority of them have never admitted it to their mates. Equally surprising is that over half of the faithful women in my research said that they had seriously considered separation or divorce within the past year. Only 30% of women were both faithful and happy in their relationships. The common thinking is that men cheat far more than women. Clearly, everyone may be willing to consider that female cheating is on the rise, but most still think that it doesn't happen that often. I suppose we believe that compared to men, women are more dedicated partners, have less of a sex drive, or surely don't want sex for the sake of sex. Some assume that women are simply conditioned to follow the role of wife and mother, even if that role isn't bringing them much happiness. My last book refuted many myths about men and their cheating patterns. Of the 200 men I studied, 100 had cheated on their wives, and 100 had remained faithful. When I asked the unfaithful men about the reasons they were dissatisfied in their marriages at the time of their affairs, I expected sexual dissatisfaction to either top the list or be near the top. When only 8% reported that factor to have been the problem, compared to 48% who declared emotional dissatisfaction to have been the primary issue, I was dumbfounded. What about the idea that men are pigs who seek as much sex as possible? Clearly men have far more emotional needs than most assume, but the idea that many men cheat seems to be a given. When I began this study about women, everyone around me had definite opinions as well. The thought seemed almost unanimous that when women cheat, it's not for the sex, and many believed that women don't really cheat that much at all. But a few told me that women cheat much more than everyone thinks, and they were almost indignant that people think of cheating as primarily a male activity. Statements such as, "We need sex too," seem to proclaim a desire for equality by many women who are tired of books that focus on what women should be thinking about in a marriage, while men are given a free ride. I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to find enough female cheaters to have a good sample. I wanted at least 100 cheaters. But it soon became apparent that this wouldn't be a problem. The 39% rate of cheating was so high and so far beyond my expectations, I became concerned that people wouldn't believe it. I redid my study twice in smaller form with different populations, and only felt completely comfortable when all 3 studies yielded similar results. Ultimately, my 3 studies combined included 505 women. One recent University of Washington study reported that 28% of men cheat, and only 15% of women cheat, and claimed that female cheating was up from 5% 20 years ago. There have been other studies that showed male cheating to be much higher than 28%, so there seems to be a lot of wiggle room with these numbers. Why do people mistakenly think women rarely cheat? Perhaps the answer is, as the Rutgers anthropologist Helen Fisher has explained, men want to think women don't cheat, and women want men to think they don't cheat. Therefore the sexes have been playing a little psychological game with each other.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?